Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Bear with us. Bear with us, bear with us. All right, we live. All right. Quick impromptu, bear with us real quick. Get this going. Make sure everything lined up. Here we go. All right, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, GMS Charlotte, back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Kodash. And before we get started, we want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. And double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect. Let's push his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect.
Shalom.
All right, so hey, this is an impromptu. We want to get into this thing here, discussing how AI, artificial intelligence, will play a major role by bringing the end of this world. All right, the end of this system as we know it, and we see how fast this technology is growing, man. All right, and there's different types of components that are coming together that's going to bring the end of this world. And we want to talk about it, a few things, because as we all know, all of this is really the left hand, and it's all about the Lord. And he's going to use this very AI to pretty much, turn on Esau to bring him to his ultimate demise. Real quick, Isaiah 45:7 is always a good one to start with. All right, because we're here, man. This shit is moving rapidly, man.
Yeah, it's Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
Yeah, see? The Lord is the one that creates the good and the evil. All right? He creates peace and darkness. I, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, do all these things. So ultimately, this AI is a product of the Lord.
Yep.
All right? And see, Esau thinks that he's going to use this to further his kingdom, to advance his society, but not knowing that the Lord is going to use this to turn against him. You both got it. If you want to chime in or whatever you want to pull out.
Add something real quick, because
Yeah.
like you said, Zaquan, the Lord has given this devil this access to this technology, but there's a means to an end.
Yep.
We can see the writings on the wall, because with this infrastructure, it's no positive outlook toward its evolution, right? It's just becoming more and more as a threat to the existence of society,
Okay.
the existence of people in the earth as we know it.
That's right.
Right, this is Job chapter 14 and verse 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass.
That's right.
Right, so with this infrastructure that he's trying to push in this fourth industrial revolution, right, ultimately what we're seeing happen is he is pretty much accelerating his end.
That's it.
Right, because the way how this technology is rapidly growing, right, he is rapidly trying to establish his NWO, right? But as the scriptures tell us in the book of 2 Thessalonians, the second chapter, right, that he that letteth will not let, right? Roughly paraphrasing.
Yep.
Right. So the Lord is pretty much accelerating this devil to his demise.
I get it for you. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, real quick. 2 Thessalonians 2 and I want to say verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let's go there real quick. 2 Thessalonians 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 7. And it reads, it says, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already work.
Mm-hmm.
Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
Right, the mystery of iniquity, right? Speaking of the son of perdition, he is at work, right, as we speak, right? The Edomites,
Yep.
right? They are currently establishing their plans in the earth right now, right, to lull people down into taking that digital off, the MOTB, the mark of the beast, right? But there's an end. He's not going to be able to accomplish this goal of submitting the entire earth under his artificial kingdom.
Yep.
Right, where he sets himself up as the Most High, right, as it tells us in the third verse.
Mm-hmm. I got something real quick. Psalms 140 and verse 8, and it reads, it says, grant not, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the desires of the wicked. All right, what are the desires of the wicked? This new world order. All right, establishing this MOTB system where he can rule over the people through technology, man. Through this AI being that God, you know, that idol, right? It says, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, grant not, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the desires of the wicked, further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. Salah. And he's trying to exalt himself as God on earth.
Yep.
Verse 9, it says, as for the head of those that can pass me about, let the mischief of their own lips cover them. Let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into deep pits, that they rise not up again. And see, and it's beautiful how the Lord is allowing this devil to establish this AI, this AGI, all right, and it's gonna be used to bring forth nuclear war. All right, so it says, let burning coals fall upon them. That's the missiles, man.
Yep.
Let them be cast into the fire, into the deep pits, that they rise not up again. Because this is the last rule of the heathen. All right, dealing with the Edomites. All right, this is the last reign of the Edomites on the earth. It says, let not an evil speaker be established in the earth. Evil shall hunt the violent man to overthrow him. All right, and as we're going to get into this AI. All right, it says, I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and the right of the poor. Surely the righteous shall give thanks unto thy name. The upright shall dwell in thy presence. Right?
We'll go ahead and start the video.
You got it.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. We end today's show looking at how the Trump administration has tapped Palantir, the data mining company founded by the billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel, to compile data on people in the United States for a master database, including a new $30 million contract with ICE to provide near real-time visibility into migrant movements.
And I just want to pause right there. That goes into that God complex
Yep.
that we were discussing of. This devil is trying to, as the scriptures speak about, how the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun.
Yep.
This is the mindset of him doing this on the left-hand side,
Yep.
you know? And I wanted to also add to with this guy, Peter Thiel, right? Peter Thiel, a tech luminary, right? He co-founded both PayPal and the software Palantir that they're talking about,
Right.
right? And he is one of many tech luminaries that are pouring money into the idea that human bodies can be improved, right? So we ultimately understand what he ties himself into ultimately is to advance the system, to lead people down to take the mark of the beast. You see?
So Proverbs 15:3, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. You know, so like the brother may have mentioned, this is him in that God complex and wanting to be, you know, omnipotent, right? Him saying, look, I can see your every movement, I can hear your every thought. You know, I know what you're gonna do before you know what you're gonna do. That's the access, right, that they want to get through this AI that's leading up to this corruption.
That's it.
Yep.
I got something real quick. Habakkuk 2:5, yea, also, because he transgressed by wine, which is those philosophies. And like you said, they want to merge man with machine. That's another part of his philosophies, transhumanism, all right, which is all witchcraft, Satanism.
Yep.
It says, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So as we're looking at in this video here, all right, this Deutsch has a master database. So they gathered all the information from social media, everything, man.
Yep.
All right, and they have it all mastered into one system.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So this is all part of what? The New World Order, man. One system, one government. You know, this AI has a major role in this thing, man. Right?
Yep.
Seeks to arrest 3,000 people a day. We're joined right now here in New York by McKenna Kelly, senior writer.
And boom, that part right there, right? How they're trying to advance this AI to be incorporated with rounding up the migrants, right? To be utilized as a tool to help with the migrant crisis. Now, understanding the heart of this devil, right? His heart is deep, right? His heart is wicked. His heart is set on ultimately doing away what? With the woman, right? To do away with Israel. So we understand that when this technology can be used toward this degree, how much more when the persecution comes down?
Yeah.
Right? When this AI infrastructure is tied into the deep fakes and linking up the church to all manners of false accusations.
Yep.
You know?
This is the beast.
Yep.
Beast system. Hey, another part of the AI that's being used, I had to do the lesson on it, but you had the small hats that got unalived at the synagogue. I forgot where it was at. It was like
Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado. Yeah, that one. It was another one before that. It was a couple that got unalived. But anyway, one of the Edomites called for a system, basically AI, that could monitor and track social media and anybody that's saying anything that's anti-Semitic, anybody that's spilling, hate speech or anything like that. They wanted the system to track people, all right, that's speaking these things. So it's all part of that, man.
And it's crazy too, Zaquan, like you got major Ivy League institutions losing their accreditation because of quote unquote anti-Shem rhetoric.
There you go.
Right? Major Ivy League institutions. We're not talking about a mom and pop college that's around the corner. No, we're talking about prestigious universities where top academia was bred. Right? Where top professions their workers come out of.
Yeah.
Yep. So this rhetoric is like, look, either you're gonna get with it or you're not gonna be a part of it.
There you go.
Like you said, if you're not submitting to the image of the beast, you're gonna be cut off.
That's it.
And I got you right quick, Zaquan. This is Revelation chapter 13 and I'll start at verse 14.
There you go.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Yeah, so you have pretty much this revived Roman Empire system, which has now been modernized, what you see today as a technocracy. All right, so this image, this system is speaking. All right, these videos that the Brotherhood is tapping into, dealing with the AGI, the AI, and all of that. Okay, this beast system. This is what's speaking right now. This is the idol that's being pushed. This is the system that's going to control absolutely everything. Right? Any more?
Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
There you go. So the image of the beast, this system is speaking. All right, the social credit scores, the monitoring and tracking, all right, the digital payment system that they're trying to bring into this thing, all right, all of that, man. It's all speaking right now. And those that don't submit, all right, you're going to be cast out. Like you were talking about, these Ivy League schools, they're being defunded by the president because of, anti-Semitic views and all of that shit, those that don't want to basically abide by the rules, so to speak. All right, you're gonna be cut off. All right. So when they crash the economy and bring this system in, those that don't submit, that's it. So we're actually, like we said before we started this lesson, we're actually watching this thing manifest. All right, we're like I said, the future is now. We're living in the future right now.
Real quick, just way back what the elder said. 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand.
Yes, sir.
Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. So what we're seeing right now, right, as the brothers is going into, this AI is a precursor to the end, man. Right? This is going directly into what's going to bring the end of Babylon the Great, man.
Wired, where recent articles are headlined, Doge is building a master database to surveil and track immigrants. And also, Doge is busier than ever. And Trump says Elon Musk is really not leaving. So if you can lay out what we know about this master database and Palantir's contracts with ICE. So let's be clear, we just mentioned Musk leaving, but actually not really, right? Musk and Thiel founded PayPal together, these two billionaire bros, tech bros, and now Thiel's company, Palantir, what it's doing.
Yeah, sure. So just a few months ago, we started hearing about databases within DHS and IRS, SSA, across government being linked together. The purpose at the time was very unclear, but from my reporting that I've done with my colleague Victoria Elliott, we've learned that it seems as if this is a process to mix data from government agencies that immigrants often report to, so IRS and tax data, all these kinds of things that can track their most recent addresses and things like that, into one database that already, USCIS has a tremendous amount of data on anyone seeking, any kind of to immigrate into this country. And so the Palantir process with its software foundry basically becomes the window for all of this data and allows folks at DHS and maybe even at other agencies, we're not quite sure yet, to submit queries and to find information and link it together about folks all across the country.
And what kind of checks are there on this merging of data systems?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, at this point, we don't really know for sure what the checks are. In some cases, these contracts haven't even been signed yet. And right now it's a big idea that is playing out within agencies, individual agencies. So we've seen it, this unification of data process happening at IRS. There's been some discussion about bringing it to SSA and DHS, but it's still very much cropping up in individual agencies, and we haven't really heard exactly if there is some kind of master plan and how that could be regulated and what oversight would look like in this case.
The master plan is tracking and owning your ass. Yep. That's the master plan, man. All right. So all these regulations that they don't know about is like that on purpose, man.
Yep.
All right. This system is set up to dominate the planet. All right. As the elites being gods over the people, man. Right?
Did you have something to point?
No, you got it. Go ahead.
I had something real quick.
Yep.
This is Sirach chapter 11, and starting at verse 29 in the GNT, the subheader reads, "Be careful in choosing friends," right? Because one thing that we're imploring our people, the 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics, is to detach yourself from this world.
Mm-hmm.
Detach yourself from this devil, from his system, right? And to depart from Babylon. Renew your mind with the washing of the word, the Holy Spirit,
God.
right? Verse 29, it reads, Sirach 11:29 in the GNT, "Be careful about the kind of person you invite into your home, because clever people can fool you in many ways," right? And this devil is very clever, right? He's trying to come into your dwelling. He's trying to infiltrate your well-being, right? To ultimately put you into a trick bag.
Yep.
You know?
The digital slavery.
Exactly. Verse 30, "A proud person is a decoy to lure you into danger. Like a spy, he will look for your weaknesses," right? And that's what this devil has done,
Yep.
right? He is understanding of, look, he understands the people, he understands how to, weaponize the media, right? To use his tongue in a crafty way, right? And he's continually making advancements by what? His secrecy, his deception, his lies, right? Verse 31, "He will make good appear evil and find fault with the noblest actions," right? So we understand that ultimately he's going to try and put this picture out there that the nobility of truth and the way of Yahweh Bashem Shai is not the way that you should be going into, right? But rather accepting of this digital accepting of this system, right?
Mm-hmm. Righteousness is going to be vilified,
Yep.
Those that believe in the Lord and the scriptures are going to be demonized, right? I got something real quick before we play it. Just tapping into the, this man's technology and what it's being used for. I was just thinking about this. It's Isaiah 10 and 12. It says, "Wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai have performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria. All right, the king of Assyria now would be Esau. All right, it says, and I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria in the glory of his high looks. Verse 13, for he saith by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and have put them down, and I have put down the inhabitants like a violent man, a valiant man. All right, because Esau is known as the oppressor, right? And this technology is part of the oppression, right? Verse 14, it says, and my hand have found a nest, and my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. See that? So just again, we see this man's attempt of gathering the whole earth to himself, as ruling over the people, as being gathered over the people through this technology, this AI, this beast system, right? You got it up.
And for those people who are not familiar with Peter Thiel and his Palantir Technologies, could you talk a little bit about his history and viewpoints? I mean, there was one article that said that he's a big believer in Armageddon, and he has insisted that the enemies of the West will prevail unless software developers work more closely with the American government to produce AI-powered military capabilities.
Sure. Yeah. So Peter Thiel got his start, decades ago during the dot-com boom with Elon Musk and David Sacks. Many people who are now in the government. David Sacks now is this AI czar in the White House. And so they made a ton of money building PayPal. And Peter Thiel has gone on to become a venture capitalist, investing in a ton of companies and co-founding Palantir, which he still interacts with and knows Alex Karp, the CEO, fairly well. Palantir, you were discussing how Peter Thiel was talking about American exceptionalism and wanting to become a tremendously dominant military power. Palantir is the company to do that. It is the company that builds a tremendous amount of defense and military technologies in order to use drones to track people across the world for American military operations. And so we're seeing Palantir being brought not just in the military industry, but also the public industry across a bunch of different agencies, as well as just different companies and businesses as well. They're starting to change not just from defense spending, right, but into becoming an operation system for the entire government.
So let's talk about how this all works. We
Operating
all have
system
these.
for the entire government, man. And we here, man. And look how fast this shit is moving, man. That's why the scriptures say that that the Lord didn't speed up the days, no flesh should be saved, man. Everything is moving at a very high level. And all this shows us that Yahweh Shai is close. All right? The end of this world is close, and Yahweh Shai is even closer. How about that? Right?
Real quick precept for you, Zaquan. 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 13. Go and ye shall receive. Pray for few days unto you, that they may be shortened.
Mm-hmm.
The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch.
Yeah, see, pray that these days be short. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. Look, we are watching the closing credits, so to speak, of Babylon the Great. All right? The scripture also says that in, I think it's Sirach, the 36th chapter, make the time short.
Yep.
Right? The Lord is amplifying this thing, man.
Right.
All right? Again, this technology that you see, this AI system, this beast system is going to be the demise of Esau. Okay?
And you think about, like you said, the closing credits. When you see the movie, it'll start out, the credits will start moving slow. But then when it gets to like all the names and shit, that should be flying.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
That's it.
I gotta stop to see a name.
That's it.
But I wanted to point out too how with that guy, Peter Thiel, how his reasoning about establishing this AI infrastructure was tied to Armageddon, tied to establishing a system that can protect itself from foreign adversaries.
Mm-hmm.
But as we talk about how domestic and foreign are seen as the adversaries to this system, right? So it's not going to be technology that's just going to be solely used against the people that are on the opposing side of the waters, right? It's going to be used against everyone, you see? And that's what people have to understand, is that you are an enemy of the state,
Yep.
right? Going back to the Patriot Act, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are an enemy of the state. So what they're going to continue to do is intensify monitoring, right? As they bring about their Masonic code, Ordo ab chaos,
Yep.
because more chaos is going to call for tighter restrictions,
Yep.
tighter order. No, we need to establish this infrastructure, because that's like you had mentioned, Zaquan, that the anti-Shem guy that said, look, we need to establish an AI infrastructure that can monitor people's behavior online,
Yep.
right? Because that digital footprint is real.
Yep.
There's been a big discussion about monitoring people's digital footprint and what they do online.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. The shit they say,
Mm-hmm.
their political views, religious views, all of that. Their stance on the government, all of that. It's all being monitored and categorized.
That's it. Go back.
Images of the last few months of these young Doge workers going into various agencies, sometimes forcing their way in, sometimes with police, and moving right into the area where they can download or whatever it is they do with these databases, essentially, as you're reporting, to centralize them. How does a private company get access to these databases? I also want to ask you, over the past few weeks, you reported this in April, Doge leadership within the IRS orchestrated a hackathon aimed at plotting out a mega API allowing privileged users to view all agency data from a central access point. Sources tell Wired the project will likely be hosted on Foundry, as you were describing the software that was developed by Palantir. Talk more about this.
Yeah.
They get access and hand it to a private company?
Yeah, so this is done across government with Amazon Web Services, Google, all kinds of different tech contractors are able to access this kind of data to build services for it. What you just discussed with IRS, this Palantir process and this creating a giant centralized database of American civil data was something.
All these workers are getting fired.
Exactly.
But
And
they keep their information.
Right. At the beginning of the Trump administration, you had folks at the General Services Administration, people who are associated with Elon Musk. The husband is someone who worked at XAI and X.com, and then also Thomas Shedd, who is leading things over there, who is an ex-Tesla engineer. They said that their main goal for this administration was to centralize data all across government. Centralizing data is incredibly difficult, especially with the mass amounts of data that the federal government has on everyone, living and working within the United States. And so it seems as if this process has shifted, instead of building one giant database, right, but to unifying data at every single agency. So we're seeing that in my reporting at IRS. They're unifying all the data there to make it more easily accessible and accessed. And then also, if you have a Foundry system at IRS and have one at DHS, those can talk to each other incredibly easily, which means you don't necessarily have to centralize all that data. You're able to query a variety of data systems across government if these systems are interoperable, which it looks like they could be.
And what about,
They are literally going to consolidate all of the data and use it as supporting documentation to both manage the people and come against certain of the people,
Yep.
right? Can I get something right quick?
You got it.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 8. It said, And Haman said unto King Xerxes, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. And we can see that very situation coming in these times, right? Where there is going to be a persecution against the believers, right? All of this massive data about what is it that you're searching online?
Yep.
What are you doing with your time? What is your belief system? What is your view toward the beast, right?
That's it.
That same mindset is going to be tied with this data that they're collecting, and they're going to use it as a proposal to say, see, we got to get rid of these people,
Yeah.
you know? They pose a threat to the system.
There you go.
Right,
Yeah, AI is going to identify it.
Yep.
And it was easy for them to collect anyway. Facebook, all right, that was a government military program.
Yep.
Really, all social media, Instagram, all of that shit, YouTube.
Yep.
It's all part of one big database system, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything, your Google searches, right? You think you searching on private, your shit ain't private, man. You think you incognito, yeah, right, nigga. You know, everything is being watched, man.
Hey, even all these like contracts, like you open up like you get a new phone, you got check here before you read through the contract.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody reading.
Ain't nobody reading that shit, man.
But ain't no telling what you agreeing to when you sign on to these things, man.
God,
So you might be giving them access to your entire life, man.
facts.
And they have this data stored away, and now, like the brother said, they're consolidating all these things for ease of access. Man.
And everything was written in fine print that you didn't read. That's crazy.
I got this real quick.
Yep.
Revelation 12:10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. Now we know that word accuser goes into categoria, right? So now we know that they're working to get whatever ammo they can against the believers, man.
Yep.
Right? Everything that you've ever looked at, every video you've ever clicked on, right? Any research that you've ever done that contradicts the narrative that they want people to coincide with is going to be used against you, man.
Yep.
Yep. You want me to put this on the screen?
Yeah. When we finish it out.
Okay.
Yeah. If you had any more left in there.
There's a little more.
Yep.
This issue of gaining access to the ITIN numbers that are often used by immigrants instead of Social Security numbers?
Yeah, so the IRS has a tremendous amount of data on anyone who reports income, right? And so the IRS data is really, really important because it has oftentimes the most recent addresses for workers in the country. So if you're trying to find someone who is operating in the, who is trying to become a United States citizen, who has applied and done the USCIS online portal, oftentimes, even if they move around, right, the IRS will have the most recent data on how to locate them. And that is why this system could be incredibly powerful if it plays out the way that we expect it to.
And in the last seconds we have playing around with voter rolls.
Yes, that was something that I was able to find in my reporting at IRS. It sounds as if, from the sources who spoke to me, that they were able to download voting data from countries and from states including Pennsylvania and Florida. Antonio Gracias, who is a close friend to Elon Musk, is running that operation at SSA. And even in a recent podcast, he said that they were able to, cross-reference data within SSA and voting record data across, the country in order to identify folks who may have voted illegally. Now, we don't really have a lot of information from what they found because I doubt they found much. But this is the kinds of ways that they're using our data.
Well,
Man.
So what do you think they ultimately gonna do with it?
That's
They
crazy.
don't know what time it is. James 2:19,
Yeah.
right? They understand the stakes that are at hand.
Damn.
They know that the Lord is coming back.
Come. These niggas got all your data.
Yep.
Right.
They got your emails, they got your address, they got everything. They got them nudes.
Thanks,
They got everything. Bank statements.
Yep.
Ain't nothing getting away from the eyes of Esau. But again, as we talked about in the lesson, all right, this is his idea of playing God.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? You have something up?
I just typed here in ChatGPT. It says, "Can AI be tied to the end of the world?" It says, jumping down to the point, it says a biblical perspective. It says Revelation 13 speaks of a beast that gives life to an image that can speak and cause people to be killed if they do not worship it. It says some interpret this image as potentially a technological construct,
Yep.
a kind of AI-powered idol, right? And that's what this is, man. That the revived Roman Empire is accomplishing what the previous Roman Empire couldn't do because they didn't have the access to this technology,
There
man.
you go.
It says the tower.
They say it.
Yep.
They say, look, we didn't have this type of technology back then.
It says the Tower of Babel. Humanity tries to build a tower to the heavens symbolizing pride and self-reliance apart from the Most High. Some argue AI is a modern version of this, where humanity seeks to replace the Most High with its own creation.
Yep, exactly.
And that's heavy because we went into that lesson about how a lot of people are now starting to deify the AI, the AGI, about how now they're looking toward this technology for guidance, right? A source of comfort and stability. They're not even going to the true living waters. They're going to the fucking dirty data center.
That's the world he want.
Yep.
Got any more?
Got that a little bit. It says here the philosophical and ethical reflection. It reads, AI reflects the heart of its creators. If developed without moral boundaries, it can become a tool of destruction.
Oh.
So this is what we're seeing take place. This is this is Esau's magnum opus.
Yeah.
Right. This is his final frontier of his mind in the earth, man.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. It says, man playing God, creating machines in our own image, or giving them power over life and death, may cross lines that the Most High never intended. It says, or dependence on AI could mirror the idolatry the Bible warns about, trusting creation more than the Creator. You know,
There you
so
go.
this is what we're seeing taking place in the earth right now, man. It's happening before our eyes. We're still in the infant stages of it, but these things are intensifying, rapidly, man.
Exactly. I want to read this. Can you hold that Isaiah 47 and then read that in the chat GPT too? But I'm going to get this first. Just to add on. So this article here I got is, it says, Ghost in the Machine, AI and the Occult. I want to get down to the point. So it says AI as a digital deity. The idea of AI as a digital deity also falls under this umbrella. This concept suggests that AI could be perceived as a form of a god or a demon with its own transcendent potential. While this might sound like science fiction, it echoes real concerns in AI ethics and philosophy about the potential risk of unchecked AI acting beyond human comprehension or control.
That nigga off the Richter, right?
You know, let me see if there's any more I want to take from this.
But that's powerful because, like you were saying, the Chat GPT, this is literally Esau's magnum opus. This is his mind, right? Esau is unruly.
Mhm.
He's unstable, right? So now the creation has taken after its creator.
Mhm.
But really, like you were saying earlier too, Zaquan, it's really the spirit of the Lord that's on this devil to make this
There you go.
to meet his own demise.
There you go. I got a scripture, all right, because that's pretty much the point from there. But I'm going to read this real quick. This is Revelation 16 and 14. It says, "For they are the spirits of devils." All right, going back to this man's technology. All right, because really what we're seeing is the amplification of the left hand. All right, these are spirits that these people are tapping into. All right, like I always bring out the example from the Google engineer. All right, they're dealing with deities, man. They're dealing with spirits that they can't control. Right? It says, "For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the king of the earth, unto the kings of the earth, and the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty," which is what? The battle of Armageddon, man. All right? This very technology that we see in that's rapidly advancing is leading to nuclear wars, leading to the end of Esau's world.
Yep.
Right? And like we talked about, this technology, this AI shit is going to turn on it. As we see, this video, the lesson I did the other day, Fox News was talking about how the AI, the people who programmed the AI tried to shut it down, and the AI breached the code where it won't shut itself down. It's sentient. It's operated by its own means. You see? So it's over.
Yep.
Read that for me, Doc.
Isaiah 47:12. "Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail.
Yep.
Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up, and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee."
That's right.
Now reading this in the Chat GPT.
Now this is from the Chat GPT of Isaiah 47:12-13, right?
Yeah.
Con.
It reads, "These verses are spoken sarcastically by the Most High through Isaiah to Babylon, a symbol of pride, idolatry, and self-reliance. The Most High challenges Babylon to rely on its sorceries and enchantments, occult practices it has depended on from thy youth.
Yep.
The challenge is ironic. Go ahead and try to use your magic to try to stop what's coming. The underlying message is that these efforts will fail. Their power is illusionary."
Yeah, because like we said, the Lord is getting ready to turn. As we see it, the Lord is turning the shit on Esau.
Yep.
All right, it's thinking on its own. It's reached beyond human capability. Right? Go ahead.
Let me just look at this definition for illusionary real quick. It says, actually, let me look it up on the free dictionary.
I got you.
We are at the end, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the end. Okay, this shit with Trump. I was talking about Trump and Elon Musk falling out.
Right.
WWF, man. All right, distractions. Because really, hey, they're distracting the people because there's no peace coming.
Right.
Remember, it was like a week or two left between Trump and Putin to establish some type of peace treaty or whatever to stop these wars in Ukraine and all that shit. Hey, they gotta put these smoke and mirrors out there, man. Ain't no peace coming. So what are people distracted with? The fallout with Elon Musk and Trump. All right, you got fucking what's the two Jakes, DDG and Hallie,
Hallie,
whatever her name is, right? Nigga shit,
Yep.
right? All these damn distractions, man. All right, to cover up what really matters, you know.
This is that definition for the word illusionary. It says the erroneous perception of reality, an erroneous concept or belief, the condition of being deceived by a false perception or belief, something that is erroneously perceived or constructed, a fine transparent net fabric, marked by or producing illusion, unreal. That's pretty much it.
Right, that's what I said. You know, their power is illusionary. They don't understand that they only have the power that the Lord has allowed them to have.
Con.
Right, that Job 9:24. Right, everything that has been given unto them, you know, has been given of the Lord for His purpose, man. Right, and it's ultimately to facilitate their own downfall, man.
That's it.
Now this is continuing Chat GPT for Isaiah 47:13. It reads, "Babylon is described as weary by its many counsels, turning to different advisors, magicians, astrologers, and others who claim insight. Again, with biting irony, the Most High says, let them try to save you. These include the astrologers, those who read the stars for guidance, stargazers, likely similar, observing celestial patterns, monthly prognosticators, those who make predictions based on lunar or astrological cycles." The sarcasm continues, "These false sources of wisdom and security would not be able to prevent judgment." It says this passage is a sharp critique of pagan reliance on occult practices instead of the living power, the futility of human wisdom and self-reliance when facing divine judgment, and the inevitable downfall of arrogant powers, in this case Babylon.
It's over. You know. Play that video and we'll wrap it with that because as I put this video together in the spirit, it's literally the play-by-play. All right, how this thing is getting ready to be the demise of the planet. All right, and Esau, you know, is what's it called, the revelation of the method. All right, they put these things in the movies as a foreshadowing of things to come. You know, that's part of their satanic decrees. They'll show you in these movies and shows before they actually, you know, play it out on the earth. You know.
Does humanity know what it's doing? No. I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes,
You believe they are intelligent?
yes,
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
in the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness?
Oh, yes. I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet.
Yeah, we have a very good idea sort of roughly what it's doing. But as soon as it gets really complicated, we don't actually know what's going on any more than we know what's going on in your brain.
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are really doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
Scott, I will start with you. I think this is very exciting. I embrace technology, and we've been headed this direction for a long time. Why are people freaking out? We're all going to have sex robots in a couple months.
Not everything is a measure of measuring quantity or not. So I think we can have, sophisticated software and algorithms and hopefully droids to help us at reasonable prices without being enslaved by them. But then again, our Pentagon, just like in Terminator 3, I guess, not the very worst one. 4 was the worst one. But Terminator 3, I think, where they show how they just turn over our nuclear weapons and the rest of our, the Pentagon will turn over more and more of their systems to not just automation, but to AI to make final decisions on pulling trigger.
If you read the plotline for Terminator, it's actually pretty smart. James Cameron wrote a pretty smart script there. It's like, well, how did Cyberdyne Systems develop?
Miles Bennett Dyson is the director of special projects at Cyberdyne Systems Corporation. In a few months, he creates a revolutionary type of microprocessor. In 3 years, Cyberdyne will become the largest supplier of military computer systems.
So its primary thing is to defend against cyber attacks.
This new computer virus is a tricky bastard. It's infected half of the civilian internet as well as secondary military apps.
To develop an AI that can defend against cyber attacks. Sounds pretty reasonable.
Sir, the Pentagon has proposed that we use our AI to scan the entire infrastructure, search and destroy for any hint of the virus. And once the connection's made, it should only be a matter of minutes.
I need to know how Skynet gets built. Who's responsible?
The man most directly responsible is Miles Bennett Dyson.
Who is that?
He's the director of special projects at Cyberdyne Systems Corporation.
Why him?
In a few months, he creates a revolutionary type of microprocessor.
Go on. Then what?
In 3 years, Cyberdyne will become the largest supplier of military computer systems. All stealth bombers are upgraded with Cyberdyne computers, becoming fully unmanned. Afterwards, they fly with a perfect operational record. The Skynet funding bill is passed. The system goes online on August 4th, 1997. Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they try to pull the plug.
Skynet fights back.
Yes, it launches its missiles against the targets in Russia.
Why attack Russia? Aren't they our friends now?
Because Skynet knows that the Russian counterattack will eliminate its enemies over here.
Jesus.
The 9th.
What the AI did is, in order to defend itself, it propagated throughout the world to keep an eye on things, see what was going on.
In which we put everything from satellites to missile silos under the control of a single computer system.
The most intelligent system ever conceived.
They didn't realize that it was Cyberdyne, that it was Skynet that was propagating through all these systems. And they said, okay, there seems to be something propagating through all these systems. Skynet, you need to stop it. You need to end it.
Skynet fully operational, processing at 60 teraflops a second.
Sir, it should take less than a minute to find the virus and kill it.
And Skynet said, oh, you've asked me to destroy myself. You are the enemy. You must be destroyed. That's how Terminator actually goes.
destroyed by the weapons they built to protect themselves.
Judgment Day is inevitable.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water. He's like, yeah, sure, he can control the demon. Doesn't work out. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Chris, your thoughts? I think you're excited.
I'm not excited at all. I'm not excited at all. I think people are insane. Has no one seen Terminator? Like the first two, not just 3 and 4? Like, no, of course, we're going to eventually turn over the world to robots at this point. Like, this is not an exciting proposition. I certainly do not trust humanity with this level of technology that eventually is going to run away from us. Look, I live on top of a mountain on the West Virginia border. I'm happy with indoor plumbing. Indoor plumbing, a little satellite TV, I'm good to go. That's all I need. I definitely do not need human-level AI.
We introduced...
Are being a bit flaky. Could you repeat that?
She wants you to say it again, I think.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say we introduced you to them a little earlier in the show, and we are delighted now to be joined by Ameca here, who's been called the world's most advanced robot. Hopefully you got it that time.
Well, they're here now alongside their creator, Morgan Brown. Good morning to both of you, and thank you for bringing this in today, because it's actually incredible, really. I mean, it's a bit freaky because it's so real.
Absolutely, yes. And let me say, I'm not the only creator. I don't want to take all of the credit.
It's a team.
It's a team. We've got some amazing engineers. It's actually a team of 35 right now.
Oh, wow.
So it's taken an awful long time to get to this point. As you can see, this is Ameca.
Because you think, right, okay, so this is Japanese. You know, this is somewhere in California. This could be. This is where in the world has Ameca come from? Cornwall. Cornwall.
Good. Why not fail? Good. Isn't it the best place in the world?
The best place in the world. So tell me about the team then, and how you started this.
So it was started by Will Jackson. He's our founder. He's from Falmouth in Cornwall. He toured the world doing different things, mainly actually in TV. But he always wanted to build humanoid robots. So he set up his company. Where do you want to set it up? He's from Cornwall. He loves Cornwall. Set it up in Cornwall. So that was about 15, 16 years ago. And the technology has built up since then. And I joined about 10 years ago, so I've been around for quite a long time, and certainly the whole process of creating Ameca, I've been around for.
And so what makes Ameca quite unique is that you can actually have a conversation. There is nothing pre-programmed about this. They are actually thinking for themselves. I mean, how does it work?
Well, we've created Ameca to be that human-to-robot interactive robot, basically.
Yeah.
It's not a robot that can walk around yet, but it's mainly about the human-robot interaction. So we've really worked hard on the expression and the gesturing. That's the hardware side of things, but then you've got the software side of things. That's the AI.
Judgment Day. The day the human race was nearly destroyed by the weapons they built to protect themselves.
Judgment Day is inevitable.
Game over, man. So yeah, we wanted to end the lesson in that clip because we wanted to show you how real this shit is, right? You know, and this technology is gonna play a major role in the end of Esau's world, man. All right, so we're here. Daniel's 12. Give me that real quick. Daniel's 12 and 3. You know, knowledge shall increase.
This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 3. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever.
Yeah, the prophets, you know, prophets coming back in their lots. Right, read on.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Yeah, so again, the quantum leap this advancement in this this technology, this AI, is leading to the end of the world. All right, as this technology gets more advanced, we're moving even more closer to the end of the system. You know, you brothers can chime in. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, so hey, you know, we'll leave it like that, man. Hey, as you see, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, man. But hey, we ain't got a lot of time left. All right, Lord willing, hey, this is the year, you know, to come where it all goes down here from here. You know, close it out, bro.
Hey, well, Lord willing, you brothers and sisters were edified through the Holy Spirit. We're going to close giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. And double honors to the apostles and the elders, the great most that taught us this truth and rule well. Peace, blessings, and mercy to the house of David. Habayah, that was died and hope for the elect. To you, Lord, we say shalom.
Hey, shalom, shalom. All right.